Brethren, you are all welcome in this second part of Clemence Zawadi's testimony. We've been with you previously last week, looking together how she got into Australia. Now today, she will share with us the life already when she arrived in Australia. Let her first greet everyone here. Praise be to Jesus. Greet those that are following us from all around the world. We greet you all that are following us, that are going to follow this testimony. May Jesus do good to you. And I hope that this testimony will take you from one place to another, because testimonies are good to edify our faith in God and His ability to work. Thank you very much. The Bible in Psalm 103 verse 3 says, "Who forgives all your iniquities, who heals all your diseases." Now in this moment, we would like to ask Zawadi, so you left together with your sister. Was your sister married at that time? Yes, she was. She had 4 children when we left Rwanda. How many does she have now? She has 7, but her husband has passed away now. Did he pass away abroad or in Rwanda? The husband passed away in 2019 when we were in Australia. That was not really during COVID time, was it? No, he passed away before that, and we woke up one morning and he had passed away. Our sincere condolences to you. So now your sister has 7 children. So recapping, you all left together with your sister, the 4 children, and the husband of your sister. How was it? Tell us, was it the first time you were in a plane, or had you previously traveled by plane? Do you remember the trajectory, perhaps? I know when we left here, we arrived in Kenya, and it was amazing. It was the first time in a plane. It was extraordinary. So the plane left us in Kenya, and we had to connect with another flight to Australia. We went with, I think, Qatar, maybe, or was it Emirates? We passed through Dubai. So yes, it must have been Emirates, because during that time, we passed through Dubai, so it must have been with Emirates. It took us all the way, so it first took us to Dubai. We got to Dubai, and then from Dubai to Hong Kong. From Hong Kong, we went all the way to Perth. I think I went through a similar journey a while back. I had traveled to Australia, but I didn't pass through Hong Kong. I passed through Singapore. In 2001, I left from Kenya to Dubai, from Dubai to Singapore, from Singapore to Sydney, Australia. It was a long journey. So Zawadi, when you entered the plane for the first time, did you know how to buckle up your seat belts? No, I just followed through the air hostess who was showing us. Because from Rwanda to Kenya, we had people, but from Kenya to Australia, there was a lot of white people, so we knew no one. And we were very afraid that if we move a little bit, the plane might stop. It was hard. We were even afraid to go to the restroom because we weren't sure how the plane is going to go. So did you not ask? Were you afraid to ask? After a while, my brother-in-law told us, yeah, we can go to the restroom. So then we went ahead. That is very usual and common to people that fly for the first time. They're afraid to drink, to eat. But in a plane, really, you have to act normal. What I remember, when we got in the plane, they served us prawns, and the only memory we had of something similar to prawns were a tree when it was rotten, it would have something similar to like white locusts. That was the only correlation we had, or the image that we could relate to those prawns that were served to us. So we were very scared of that food. They looked very scary and we were afraid to eat it. We were very scared. That day we left without eating. The whole journey we did not eat. We said we're not sure about this food they're serving. We're going to leave this. We were very, very scared of this. But now you eat the prawns, don't you? Yes, I like them. They're great. Why didn't you tell them? Could you change our food? Like, we don't like it. So I was seated with my sister and the children. Our in-law, or my brother-in-law, was seated further from us. He spoke a little bit of English, so he was a bit more comfortable. So he was fine during the flight, but we told him when we arrived it was very hard for us. Couldn't he help you when you were still in the plane? No, when we were in the plane, we were so careful, trying to not move. We were thinking maybe if we do a wrong move, the plane will fall. We were very, very, very careful, and we were trying to make sure the children would not cry. It was a very hard time. Those who are about to travel for the first time, please hear this testimony. When you reach the in the plane, be free, move freely, ask about the information. It's all right. It's all okay. You can do that. You can ask for clarification because it's like in a house or like in a bus, you know. So just freely ask people. It's okay. Ask for information when you're traveling. It was a long journey. We spent a long time during our layover in Hong Kong. Did you have people who come to pick you up when you arrived? So yes, there is someone who would hold a badge with that we would like connect, and that person brought the badge and would go to that person for help, basically. So now you arrived in Australia. Where did you land when you arrived in Australia? We landed in Perth. Perth is in West Australia. That is the landing, the final destination of that flight was in Perth, in the Western Australia. So where Sydney is in the eastern, it's further. When we arrived at the airport, one thing that shook us was the escalators. The escalators were very tricky to us. We were scared. It looked like a stream of water that's going down. So they tried to first take us in the elevator and we were afraid. So they said, let's go to the escalator. It was even more scary. So we thought we would die going through the escalator. So later somebody came to take us to the elevator and we safely landed. So you're afraid of the elevator and the escalator at once. Are you now comfortable with both escalators and elevators? So you understand, I mean, coming from a refugee camp, there is nothing you are exposed to really. It's like coming from a darkness or a pit and you're exposed to so much light at once. That was like, now tell us, you reach in Australia, they welcome you, they give you a house, and they gave them a house. How did you start this new life? Because it was my very first time living in a home alone, I was very unused to this. Things were very complicated for me. I almost prayed that I should return back to Rwanda, to the refugee camp.
wumvaga petho uko imeze
Why?
umuntu ari heza cyane wareba mu nkambi
Perth is very beautiful. Why did you want to come back? Because living alone at home, I was home alone, no one to talk to. My neighbors were Caucasian, so it was really hard. And also, coming from a conflict area,
yego
you have PTSD when you see things we watch on TV. There are like movies of war, so we thought it was real. So it was very traumatic for
mu
me.
by'ukuri ni ugusenga imana kuko
So you understand that
abantu babaye mu bihugu by'intambara bakeneye
people that have lived in conflict areas and zones, they need therapy sessions and counseling.
cyangwa se
I know that it's not very prominent in the cultures here to go to the therapists, but you know that when you've lived through conflict zones and areas, you have trauma.
urumva ko
You
washaka
need
mu
counseling.
babona barasana
Because, as you said, when you watched movies, you thought it was real.
wabonaga ari ukuri
You didn't know it was a movie, you thought it was the reality. One time we were watching a TV, and you know the TV has different channels. Every time I would open, we'll see movies of war, crime movies. And you know, in the camps, the refugee camps, we didn't have TV, so I didn't know better. So I thought it was real. So we have some Aboriginal peoples, Aboriginal Australians.
basanga butaka ba
They're called Aboriginal peoples.
ndabazi nigeze gukora ibiterane babizamo bari bavuye no mu bihugu
So one time I did a conference and they came. They attended those conference. So yes, we had. They came. Some people were drunk in the night, and they started to throw stones at the traffic area that we lived nearby, and I was very scared. I thought the war or conflict was going to start again. So I broke the glass of the backyard, trying to find an exit for us to take once those people will enter our house. Now, when I broke that glass, our neighbors came out. It was a couple.
b'abanyaustrali utabasha kuvugana nabo
They were Australian. They would speak to me, but I didn't speak English, so I would say no English. So they called for service for interpretation, and they asked me, "What is the problem you have?" And I said, "I heard a conflict. War is about to start." So I broke the glass so that I may exit my children so that we won't die. And they said, "Calm down. There's no war happening in Australia right now." So they sent me counselors at home. You know, now when people go, they're more modernized. But when we started, when we were leaving, you were very scared. You came straight from a war zone to a place like that. You had so much trauma, and it was scary. But thank God, over time, I got a little bit more comfortable. And then later, I moved closer to my sister's home. So I got used to the life there.
none se
But before that, I thought we were in a war zone again and we might die.
ntibaguteje ibibazo ba nyirinzu cyangwa
Were
se
they severe to you when you broke that glass?
byageze abakansera baraye
How did that go? You know,
yego
when you're filling your document, they ask you about your religion. So I feel that I was Catholic, and so that the Catholic church there received me, and the priest
bamenya ko
came.
ari ikibazo
He counseled me, and he also helped repair the glass. So he understood that I had a problem of trauma, and so they helped me move closer to my sister and near people I could talk to, and the church.
hari uwabikubwiye cyangwa
How did you come to know that those were just crime movies you were watching? After a while, I ask around, what are those things happening or passing on TV? And they told me it was
babiseka
just,
ariko
they
ari
were
ibintu
just
biba bikomeye
movies.
iyo umuntu ari
We're
muri
now
icyo
laughing at
gihugu
it, but when you're
utazi ubwa
going
mbere
through it,
ndagira ngo
it's your first time in a land.
ndagira ngo n'abari mu nkambi ko baradukurikira kuri televiziyo no kuri
I know
radiyo
that
cyangwa
even
kuri
some people
radiyo
in the refugee camps are
igihe
following us
genda
on
bazamujyana
radio.
muri ibyo bihugu bindi ni
When they
ukumenya
move
ko
to
mu
those
by'ukuri
countries,
ibyo ubona kuri televiziyo akenshi ataba ari
you
byo
have to know that what you see on
filime
TV
bakorera muri za
are
hollywood
movies, there are
ahantu biri hollywood
programs that are
bakorera aya
created
mafilime
in
okay
like
reka twihuta
Hollywood or other
ndumva
places.
rwose ufite inkuru nyinshi cyane
You have so many stories to tell
hari akantu
us.
kamwe tutavuze wageze muri australia ufite umwana umwe cyangwa
There's something we forgot. Did you get to Australia when you had one child?
wajya kubyara abandi bari
No, after the firstborn, I had other children.
ariko ntiwari warashaka
I moved to Australia with three children.
ni ukuvuga ko rero
Yeah, I was not
waje
married.
kugira abandi bana babiri abari batatu
So you later on got two children. Now you have
wabashije
three.
kubarera wenyine
Yes.
muri australia cyangwa mukuru wawe yaza kumva
How is it raising three
nawe
children?
ari umwana
Did your sister help you?
gusa kubera ko hari ubuzima buroroshye urabizi ko
So-
hari amacari
Life is a little bit easier there.
child care naho
There's like
barerera
childcare services.
najyaga ku ishuri nkabasiga kuri cari
I would go to school and leave them at the childcare center.
basi
And then when I come from school, we'll pick them up from the childcare center.
we basi yaramutwaragaho ishuri umutoya babiri narabajyanaga umwe muri plan
I would go with the two children, and then one would go with the school bus because they were older.
tugataha
okay
And then we'll pick the bus later. When we're done, we'll go home together.
abana nabo bakajya barerera muri
So you would go to an English school, and your children would also go to a childcare center, right?
none se guhaha
Yes.
ko numva
How about grocery shopping?
wahashye gute? Wamenye
How did you
guteka
go
gute?
grocery
Wamenye
shopping?
gukoresha,
How did you know how to do house chores using
hari
all the
abandi kwe-
appliances? Did someone come to show you?
mu case worker ni abantu
Yes.
babafasha.
So
ndakwereka bimwe
when you arrive, there is a caseworker, and the caseworker helps you. They show you the basics.
ibyumweru bibiri rimwe yaza umunsi umwe
When you start, they'll come once in like 2 weeks.
kubera ko
They'll help you go grocery shopping.
nawe ugafata bya bindi byubona
bijya
by'iwanyu
by'iwanyu okay
And then because it's in a store with a variety of things, you just pick whatever is similar to what you are used to at home.
ibi bikoni by'abazungu
kuko barabitwigishije tugiye
Were you used to the chicken appliances?
ntabwo washiririje cyangwa
Yes, they gave us lessons on how to use
kajya
it.
kavuga
karara
k'umwotsi
I was only scared of the smoke detector. I would be worried because they told us the smoke detector would be on when the whole house is about to be on fire. So I would cook very quickly so that the smoke detector would not go on.
kageramo kakavuza induru wahita ubona
But you know, when you're cooking, the smoke from the food will just reach the smoke detector and it'll go off. So I would be so scared that the whole house will burst and
okay
because of the fire and the electricity.
umva ko padiri yaje kugufasha niki wasubiye
So when you got to Australia, did you go back to church?
dutwara ariko
Yeah, the priests that we had would help us. We would go and sit there, but it would just be attending. We would not listen or hear anything because it was in English and I didn't speak English. So at the end, I'll just do a sign of the cross and then go home.
wafataga se ekarisitiya
Did you,
muri Australia hari baje
when I got to Australia, one pastor came and they spoke, he was an Indian man, but he spoke Swahili. And he helped me so I would eat the Eucharist like everyone else during the Holy Communion.
cyangwa se kwari
Did you then start getting closer to God, or were you just trying to find
icyo gihe
where to spend time?
numvaga ko ari ngombwa ko njyayo kuko ndi umugatulika
For me at that
ariko
time, I thought it
ntajyanye
was
none si
necessary for
ntabwo
me
nari nzi
to go because I was a
kumva ko nzicara ngo
Catholic,
ntekereze ku mana
but
cyangwa
I
ntekereze
really
ku masomo
didn't
basomye
think
cyangwa
about
nibwirize
fellowshipping
ry'umuryango
with
numvaga ari
God
ibintu
or reading the word by
yes
hari
myself.
abandi si
It was
bahuye
mostly
nabo
out of
aho
duty and
hantu
responsibility.
ese
Did you
ugeze
make
mu
some
nkambi wawubwirizaga
oya
friends?
ugeze
When you're in the
Australia
camp, the refugee camp, did you drink
wanywa
alcohol?
inzoga nyinshi
When you got to Australia, did you drink alcohol? Yes, I did. I didn't drink,
wanywaga
I didn't smoke, but I drank a lot of alcohol.
Eh?
I drank, I drank all the
wanyweye
strong
champagne
alcohol,
nawe sinari
champagne, whiskey.
ikindi wakora
mbese
I thought there was
warisangiye
nothing else to do. I'll just drink a lot of
iminsi yagiye
alcohol.
yicuma tumenyera twagenda
Who did you
kumenyera
share alcohol
abantu
with?
batandukanye
You know, over
wenda
time, you
nawe
make friends from all
byatuye neza ko amaze
ends.
kuza dutangira kumenyana n'abaziranye
And
b'abagenzi
with when you start to gain a little bit of English, they will show you where to go on Friday. You know,
ku wa gatanu warasohokaga
Fridays.
biryoshye
You go out. Yes. It was a day to go out.
baryamye
Yeah. I would put the kids to bed
n'ubundi bari
and then
bagejeje
go
imyaka
out.
18
cyangwa nkaba
How old were
cyane
they?
bya out byamaze kuba abana uko bamaze gutangira kugira ruguru
Yeah.
ariko
When
bakiri
the
bato,
children started growing,
biryoshye kuryohereye ariko nyuma
I
n'ubundi
would drink wine,
Iraryoshye.
drink alcohol,
ubwo rero bamaze kugira ruguru niho
and when they grew, I started
yagenda out
like
nkumva
going
nyine
out
biza
as well.
guhinduka intuza nkumva ko gusenga no mu gaturika ndabyumva gusenga
Even
byari nko kujyayo gusa
after that, I thought going to church really it was just
ari umuhango
wajyaga mu mabote
like a ritual.
ukabyina
I would go to nightclubs for the whole night till morning. You don't even know that it's morning.
mwagenda hano hari uzi ko aho nkaho muri za crown aba ari ahantu hanini
You know,
cyane.
like it's a big club. You are literally touring the whole night till morning. And then we'll go home Saturday morning with a hangover. Oh, that is
hari ubwo wigeze
intense.
kugaruka ino mu Rwanda cyangwa ino
So
muri-
now, did you end up
cyangwa mu Rwanda
visiting Rwanda, Congo a little bit after, a while after you've gone to Australia?
Facebook abantu bamaze iterambere maze kumenyera
So yeah, when I was in Australia, Facebook came and we're using it, and we had gotten used to Australia life in Australia. I was working,
hanyuma rero
and then
gutangira hari umuntu twaje twabanye kera twaniganye tuza
there was a
guhurira
friend, a colleague. We formally knew each other in school, and then after a while, we communicated over Facebook, and then we agreed that we're about to get married.
ntazi
In that time, yes,
ntago
I had money
akireba w'imyaka
without salvation. So I was just drinking alcohol and living life
twari tuziranye
in
kuko
lusts in
wari
the
uzi
flesh.
mbere ko twe twaragirirana
So I connected with that man online,
ko atari
and
twashatse,
then we fell in love. He wasn't married, I wasn't married, so we agreed to get married to each other.
ngiye kuza kumureba
So we agreed that I was gonna come to Rwanda.
nawe n'undi wundi
n'undi wundi.
birambabaza
When I
cyane.
came to Rwanda, I found that he was very different from who I thought that person was. I even thought I was better than that person because I took responsibility and did my things on schedule, you know. He just reminded me a story. A while back, long time when I was in Kisangani,
umudamu umwe twasengana noneho
there is a woman we used to fellowship together.
w'umunywi cyane
She had a husband who was a drunkard.
naho umugabo
So one
agize
day, the wife could not locate her husband because the man was spending nights in different bars. So the wife went to one bar to bring him home.
asa
He was very drunk, had peed on himself. He was very dirty. When the wife saw her husband, she did not know what to do. She took her kitenge and wrapped around him and took him home.
bahura n'undi muntu
When they were on the way,
noneho
they met
noneho
someone who was
wa muntu
drunk.
wasinze we ahagarara iruhande rw'inzira urabona abagabo nyine
So the man who was a little bit drunk made stepped on the side to give them away.
wikoreyeho imyanda ye yose
The man who was very drunk that the husband was
nyina
with.
w'abana banjye umunsi uzabona ntangiye ku muhanda gutya nkajya ku muhanda
So
ngahagarara
they,
hari
the man
ntuzate
told the
rwose
man whose wife had come to take home.
mama bato
So this other drunk man who's peeing on the street, he told his wife, my wife, when you see me peeing on the street, please, you should leave me. Meanwhile, this man had already peed on himself. At least this drunk man still had the consciousness to pee on the street, not on himself.
usanga mugenzi wawe nawe
So I just remembered that story as you're sharing about how you thought you were a bit better than that man you met.
ndahagarara kandi mu by'ukuri
So yes, we broke off our relationship.
anywa inzoga ni ukuri hari ukuntu
But truly, when you see someone
wayinyoye
who drinks alcohol,
wumva ntacyavuga
when someone drinks alcohol, they don't feel like they're doing any sin.
inzoga buriya
ni bazima
You actually sometimes wonder how are people who don't drink alcohol living, you know?
ntabwo bifata nk'icyaha
yesu
Many people who drink alcohol don't think it's a sin. There's no subconscious accusation of that sin per se.
ngeze hano ubwo nyine nsanga
So I came to see him in 2014, and then when we met, I found that it was no good match because he was not good morally, and I felt sad because I wasted my money, I wasted my time to come see this man. I was saddened in my heart.
umwe ku gisenyi mubwira uburyo
So I spoke to one of my relatives who lives in Gisenyi. I was very heartbroken. So my relative told me, let us pray,
atwereka umukozi w'imana
but let us go see a man of God. Um,
ibintu bijyanye no gusenga
none se uwo yaranziwe ngo ku gisenyi
iye kuko yasenye
they told me, let's go see Apostle. Did that person know me? Yes, yes. They attended Zion Temple Bukavu.
ngo usabe
Zion Temple Rubavu, my bad.
numva nyine ko mbipinze ndavuga se kwanza nkuya kumuranga nsengeri ko ibyabaye byabaye
And so I thought to myself, Zion, why should I go see that person? Why? I didn't want to discourage them, but I didn't take the advice.
yego
So she sent me a link on the phone of church services. I would watch sometimes, but I still also lived on my life.
no mu gatwika nkajyayo nyine rimwe na
I would watch online about the services of Zion Temple. Sometimes I'll go to the Catholic Church.
ntiwaca kuri
Yeah.
zidemo ngushakishe
So I went back to Australia. You went back straight to Australia.
nta na kimwe
You didn't come to see me, nothing. Yes, I went back.
mu by'ukuri kumva ngo umuntu yasenga cyangwa umuntu yasenga ni nko kuvuga
In my heart, thinking that someone would pray for me,
ko hari ibyo ukora
you know, it's like I thought God exists, but I don't have like tangible proof. I'm not sure.
wabyumvise
You know, like
kumva ko imana iriho
there's
nyine
no.
gusenga kuko nasanze papa asenga murasenga ni ukujya ariko
I was just praying because I found my family praying, but there's nothing beyond that,
Bene
as
data
in a
nk'uko
personal
urugendo rwa
relationship.
Zawadi muri Australia
Brethren, as you can hear, that is Zawadi's life in Australia.
ndetse banamuha
She lived according to the flesh, how she wanted. They even let show her a church, but it didn't mean much to her. Maybe it's the same for you. Seeking God is very hard for you, or you are.
shaka imana igishoboka
But I would like to give you this advice: seek God while it's still possible.
kuko hari
Seek God when you still have time, because there will be a time when it will be very hard for you.
mwami yesu
I request you where you are, kneel down and we'll pray.
ndamusaba
Lord, I pray for this brethren. I pray for your salvation. Manifest yourself to them. Give them salvation that they will know you and love you and have a relationship with you. In the name of Jesus. Amen. We will continue this testimony next time.